Hi everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Angel and we are on a roll. I have successfully done about I think this is my fourth video, so I'm really happy with the progress that I've made. And today I'm going to be talking about why I moved to Nigeria. Why would you move to Nigeria? Everybody's going to the US. What are you looking for in Nigeria? These are some of the questions that I get on a regular basis. And so today I'm going to be talking about why I moved to Nigeria. So you guys can get to know a little bit about me and some of the reasons why I decided to leave where I was, where I grew up in the US, and move all the way to Nigeria, where my family is from, my culture, my cultural identity is traced to, and live here. I never went to school in Nigeria. I didn't grow up in Nigeria, but I had visited quite a number of times. And so I'm going to talk today about why move to Nigeria. So why I moved to Nigeria. So I moved to Nigeria in 2010. And at that time, I was just finishing grad school. And for me, I was quite interested in seeing what I could do in Nigeria because I had this very strong Pan-African build Nigeria mindset. And a lot of it was formed, I think, when I was in high school. In high school, I went to my mom and I told her that I didn't want to go by Angel anymore, that I wanted to go by my Nigerian name. For those of you who knew me in high school, I go by a different name than for people who knew me from birth, growing up primary school or elementary school, junior high school or junior secondary school, you know. And then for those people who know me in college, they know me by Angel because by the time I got to university, everybody, some people that I knew before getting to university already knew me as Angel. So Angel stuck. But some people would still call me my other name because I preferred going by that name. And then in university, I was very Afrocentric, as you say. I still am, and I still think I'm a Pan-Africanist in a sense because for me, I believe that, and I think I've grown to have the opinion that Africans should be building Africa. And I get tired of this whole savior complex of, foreigners coming in and they feel like they can save the country. And they throw aid at us. But I don't think we need aid. I think what we need is people who are capable of just getting the job done. And we have so many people in the country who have those qualities, and we have so many people who have left the country, maybe had kids outside of the country, and those people need to return to be able to build the country. I think the final straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I was visiting Nigeria one Christmas, and that was the same Christmas that the underwear bomber Mutalab had tried to blow up a plane, and the airport that he landed in was in Detroit Airport, and that was the airport that I was flying to Nigeria from. So I think he did that like the day before. That was like on Christmas Day, and I was traveling on the 26th, Boxing Day, to be able to go to Nigeria because the prices were so affordable on that day. And by the time I got to the airport, the entrance was full of news and press, and they just see somebody, you're black and you have luggage and you're going in, you must be going on that Nigerian flight. So the first thing they say is, you're a Nigerian, right? You're a Nigerian. What do you think about what had happened? What do you think about what had happened? And I just realized right then and there that, like, in growing up in the US, you never ever are seen as just American. I always grew up as Black American, African American, Nigerian American, but I never was just seen as American. And when you think about the terms of All-American, who is an All-American football player, All-American cheerleader, even though the people who take those spots usually are people of color, you always have them think about the white quarterback or the white cheerleader, or so it's kind of tough because you you feel like an other in the only place that you know. And so for me, it was really easy to um, embrace more my ethnic background, and just think that, you know what, I know that Nigeria is where I'm from, and anytime something happens in Nigeria, whether it's the 419 incident or whether it's an underwear bomber or any other thing, they're going to say, you are Nigerian, what are your thoughts, how does it affect you? And so and even when you enter into the corporate ladder, sometimes you feel like they want your ideas, they want your thoughts, but they don't want you. And so I said, you know what, there's so much talent. Some of the top people, in different institutions, companies, and things like that are Nigerian. So let me go to Nigeria and see how I can help in building Nigeria and add value to Nigeria, because I know that that is a country where my son can be. He can, if we build it right. In my head, I felt, if we can improve the educational system, if we can start businesses there, and we can each do our little part, that we'd be able to add value. And of course, I had visited Nigeria about 4 times on my own before actually moving to Nigeria. I think before that, my parents used to send me back on summer vacations, but I'll tell you, summer and Christmas are not the same as actually living in Nigeria. And so when I did decide to move back, of course, I had some savings, I had a vehicle, and I had a plan. I thought so. I thought I had a plan. My plan was that I was going to go work at NACA, the Nigerian Agency on the Control of HIV and AIDS, right? Or I was going to work for a pharmaceutical company as an epidemiologist. Many of the pharmaceutical companies were headquartered either in Egypt or South Africa or other African countries. The NACA situation kind of messed up because the head at the time was moved. Then so many other things that happened, and so by the time I was there, I said, okay, let me just get a job. So when I came back, I worked at Chapel Hill Denim, and yeah, when I came back, at least I had an aunt who I could stay with, and so I stayed with her, and I would commute to work every day. I had a driver to help me commute, and I'll tell you that it was stressful. I think for somebody who comes from overseas, from the US, but is not based in a major like urban city. I grew up in Delaware. It is a small town. It is a small state, and I grew up in an even smaller town. And of course, later on, I lived in Philadelphia as well. I've also lived in Jersey and other places, but those places are small compared to, like, let's say in New York or in LA and things like that. So if you love that LA life, you love that New York life, you love Lagos. But for me, I think it was just a bit much. I am definitely a small town girl. And yeah, so when I landed, there was excitement. I was just happy to see family. And of course, in the beginning, family is so excited to see you that every resource, that you need and advice, they're just so happy. See our niece from America. You see our cousin from America, But once you become one of them and you start working 9 to 5, all those visiting, lovey-dovey, oh, we've missed you kind of stuff is gone. So, of course, working, I lived on the mainland in GRA Keja, and I would go to my job in the island. And the goal was to actually switch careers. So I was going to work at Chapel Hill Denim and get some experience in investment banking. And so I started in the research department, and it was a great experience. I think this was at the time where the banking crisis was going on, and Chapel Hill Denim played a huge role in helping to make sure that AMCON was able to manage the bad debts that some of these banks had incurred. And so we were able to do some reports in the research department on that, as well as some other, reports, that were actually pivotal in the way that Nigeria looked at the banking industry, and I think that was something that was pretty cool. But I didn't last more than 6 months in Lagos. Around that 6 month mark, I was tired. I was ready to give up the traffic, and then I think also because I never went to school here, not understanding the nuances of Lagos life and Lagos culture, maybe Yoruba culture, Nigerian culture in general. Um, there were just some things that I just couldn't grasp. But now, hey, I am fully acclimated. But then it was a lot harder for me, because I think that, like, if you're a returnee in the sense that you were here in Nigeria before and you returned, then it's one thing because you already grew up with some of the cultural norms. But when you didn't grow up in that setting, and even when you were in the U.S., you know, you didn't have as much exposure to the Nigerian community, then it becomes a bit harder for you to acclimate. And I think also just kind of a rude awakening of this whole, like, my cousin introduced me to some people one time, and she was like, "Oh, meet my cousin Angel," and just like, you know, and they're like, "Oh, meet Prof's daughter," and they're like, "Oh, Prof's daughter, oh hi," and I'm like, why the change in, but and so you learn that in Lagos, of course, it's about who you know sometimes, and some people are really just about how they can, get something out of you, or build friendships because they want to see how they can, it's a really a sink or swim town, and so it's harder to find more genuine. Well, actually, let me ask the question. For me, I felt like in Lagos it's harder to find more genuine relationships and stuff like that, just because of the culture, the very socialite culture that is there. So I feel like there's a lot of uh, not that they're aloof. Do I dare say it? They have an air of being aloof, but it's really just like a front. And so there's a lot of insecurities and better pass my neighbor and other things like that. So that's a bit tough to navigate, I guess. And if you don't have your secondary school, you know, what do they call it? Queen school, QC set, or this set or that set that you went to secondary school with, it's also harder. But I made a lot of friends who I'm still friends with to this day. I made a lot of friends at work, have a lot of family, and then of course, Lagos has a lot of things to do. So you find people who have interests in the things that you like to do outside of Lagos. So that was part of why I moved to Nigeria. Before I moved to Nigeria, actually, by the way, I told my parents that I was moving a week to my move. And my mom was like, "Why do you want to move to Nigeria? Do you want to kill me? What's happening? What do you want there? Come and stay here. What are you looking for?" But my dad was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Me too. I'm moving. I have an opportunity, blah, blah, blah." So it was a shock. We happened to move back around the same time, but in separate ways. But it was good to also have my dad. He wasn't in my same city. He was in Abuja. But it was good to have him in the country at the time that I moved, because I didn't really bother him. But it's also good knowing that someone is there in case something does happen. So it was interesting to see people's reactions. And then when I moved back, of course, like I said, I had a driver to drive me around in Lagos. But by the time I would get to work, if I needed to move somewhere else, I would usually ask the driver to get into the passenger seat, and I would drive so that I could get comfortable understanding the Lagos roads and get comfortable with driving in Lagos. It's very, very different from driving in other cities. But, once you learn how to drive in Lagos, you can drive anywhere in the world. And so that was helpful. What else? Yeah, people were shocked that I do a lot of things myself and I'm quite independent. It was very weird to come and kind of see that people, "Oh, we lock our gates by 9, we're in the house by this time," security wise, blah, blah, blah. Like, so that was different because I was so used to 24-hour Walmarts, 24-hour 7-Elevens, and just being able to go out and about as I please. Of course, you're trying to be cautious about maybe muggers or other things like that, but in general, you move around as you like. So that restriction, and then gender uh, differences. So things that were kind of imposed upon me that weren't imposed on my male cousins. Were quite interesting as well. So people, if you say, "Oh, I'm going here," no, 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 no. What will I tell your parents? You cannot go. Oh my goodness, what will happen? You're a woman. Whereas if it's a guy, no, no problem. So that was also kind of difficult to navigate. And I'm the kind of person where if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. So it didn't really stop me, but it was quite interesting. So yeah, I didn't last 6 months. I lasted 6 months only in Lagos. I went home for Thanksgiving. I said I didn't want to come back. And my mom was like, "Well, it's okay. I'm glad you listened to me. This is the only thing in your life that you ever tried and you failed. So, but I'm happy that you're home." So I was just kind of like, "What?" I got right back on that plane after we celebrated Thanksgiving, and I had 2 weeks of just rest at home. And I said, "No, I've got to succeed at Nigeria." And fortune would have it that I ended up deciding just to do my service year. And instead of getting Lagos, I got Oshun. And it worked out well because my service year turned into a contract, afterwards, where I worked for Osun State in an advisory capacity. I feel like I really, was thrown into the deep end in Osun. I had an amazing boss who, saw so much value and in me, and he saw what I was capable of, and he just threw me into the deep end and said, "You can do it." And so I got a lot of experience, I got a lot of exposure, I added a lot of value in that job, and it actually helped me to get my job in Abuja when I was ready to move to Abuja. So I worked in the presidency there. So that was a great experience. And I think that, like, when I look back, I would never choose otherwise. I think I made a good choice in moving to Nigeria. The only thing is I probably would have started entrepreneurship much earlier than I did in moving to Nigeria. I would have done it right away, and I would have used some of the savings that I had to do that. What else? Well, actually, would I have? Well, everything happens for a reason, and everything happens the way it did. But I feel like, yeah. Let me think. 5 things that I would advise somebody who's deciding whether or not to move to Nigeria. Well, number one, me moving back when I did versus you moving back now are 2 different things. Then, a lot of my mates were in mid-level management in a variety of different companies, and many of them were leaving to start their own businesses and become entrepreneurs. And a lot of people were coming in to become entrepreneurs. Nigeria is saturated with entrepreneurs. There's still more space. And if you're coming from overseas, this is the time really to invest, because the Naira is devalued so much that you can actually get a good bang for your buck. So that's one. Number 2, I think really understand that Christmas time in Nigeria, summertime in Nigeria is not the same as living in Nigeria. And so the luxuries and the perks that you may think that you have during that time are not what you'll see. You get a bit more frustrated when you do move to Nigeria. Number 3, I would say every plan that you think you have, throw it out the window, because this is such a, I don't want to say chaotic country, but like, plans don't ever go as planned in this country. And so you have to be able to improvise. You have to be able to think quickly, think fast on your feet, to be able to just kind of change up, go with the flow. You have to be dogged and persistent, and be aggressive for what you want. Because, I always say that Nigeria is a country of alphas, me included. So you have to have that confidence and, be able to just do it. You just have to do the damn thing, And then Number 5, I would say, is you're going to do Nigeria, you have to be patient because things don't happen overnight. And like I said, plans don't always go the way you think they would. And so, whatever you think your timeline is, double it. And just be patient because things will work out. So, yeah, if you are patient, if you're determined, if you like risks, then Nigeria is for you. Nigeria was for me just because it is a sense of pride in my ethnicity, in being able to say I was part of those people who built this country into what we want it to be. It's not where we want it to be now. We are trying to reclaim it back from the people who made it what it is today and build it to where our children, our grandchildren, can actually benefit from our hard work, labor, and doggedness. So, yeah, that's it. 5 reasons why to move to Nigeria. Number 1, if you are a Nigerian or you are Black and you want to be in a place where there are people like you who want to do business with you, who want to, and you have something to add, then come to Nigeria. Number 2, there's so many things that are so many problems that can be solved and so many opportunities that you can actually match. So if you want to do entrepreneurship in Nigeria, Nigeria is a great place to invest a little bit of money into something like agriculture. And it's not easy, but you can get some good returns. So number 3 is if you're a woman and you have kids and you're a working woman, and Nigeria is a place to be because you have a really good support system to be able to raise your kids and kind of move up the corporate ladder. The reason I think Nigeria is so good at that is because there's a bit of misogyny here, where they feel like the woman's place is in the home, so you go to the other room, But at the same time, that support system, in Nigeria they say it takes a village to raise a child, and I think it's so true. So being able to have a support system, being able to have family, being able to, I have 2 nannies, and I don't think that I would have that if I wasn't in Nigeria. In the US, I'd probably pay much more for that. So yeah, I think support-wise, if you're a working woman, you can have it all in Nigeria when it comes to business, when it comes to family, when it comes to personal life and trips with the girls. You can have that here, and it costs less. Yeah. So then I would say number 4, if you love a spicy, culture, Nigeria is a place to be. We have such a rich and exciting culture in the everyday life, in street culture, in our various ethnicities, and so experiencing Nigeria is exciting every day in just the way we behave, and then also the way we value traditions, cultural traditions. So if you do like culture and you want to experience that culture in deepness, come to Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is a poppin' place, actually, because, look, Wizkid has taken Afrobeats to the world, so a lot of people are getting interested in Nigeria. Every one of my friends overseas is singing Essence. You need no other bunny. They're singing that. So it's good to see people really appreciating our cultures, our various cultures. Nigeria is very diverse. And then number 5, I said it before, but I'll say it again, is just a sense of cultural and ethnic pride, and wanting to be able to build something and be part of, saying that you are part of building something and making something better. And it's a struggle. I know that with everything that we've experienced as young people in Nigeria, it is a daily struggle, but it is worth the investment into this country. Nobody's going to do it for us. We got to do it. So on that note, please tell me, if you moved to Nigeria, what was your experience like? If you're thinking about moving to Nigeria, please tell me what you may be thinking of or worried of, or your plan. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out future videos coming up. I may just talk about some of my other experiences, like being stopped by police, being stopped by road safety, being stopped by VIO, being stopped by military, dealing with omoniles, or dealing with area boys, going to the market, or things like that. I'll just talk about some of those, but I think each of those could be a mini video. So I will share more content with you. Like, subscribe, see you later. Bye.